Hi, it's Terri Gaines. I'm going to show you 12 simple cards I made with a Create with Terri card kit. The card kit packet is a thank you gift to customers that place an order with me. That is $50 before shipping and tax for the month of July. I'm going to commit to doing this as a thank you for the next 6 months, and each month will be a different designer series paper featured in the coordinating cardstock. The month of July is the Perennial Essence Designer Series paper. In the packet, there's a topper. On the back of the topper, it has suggested layouts for 12 simple cards. There is 6 pieces of Designer Series paper that is 4 by 6, and it's double-sided. There is 12 5.5 by 8.5 pieces of colored cardstock that coordinate, along with 4 5.5 by 8.5 whisper white, or if the color is that coordinates with it is very vanilla, in that case it would be very vanilla, but for this packet it is whisper white. So I'm going to show you 12 simple cards I made with this, keeping in mind you can make as elaborate cards as you would like. The stamp set I used is here's a card. It's a new stamp set in the catalog. And as I mentioned, you will receive 4 sheets of half sheets of Whisper White or Very Vanilla. 3 of those half sheets, 8.5 by 5.5, I cut into quarters. This will be the inside of each of my cards. So that's 3 of those. That leaves 1 more sheet of paper, half sheet of paper. And what I did is I cut that into 4 strips. I cut them, the first 2, 1 3/4, and I stamped the sentiments, and the other 2 are 1 inch. So that will give me 12 sentiments, and the previous cut gives me 12 insides for my card. So that works out perfect. So just on these sentiments, before I move on to the cards, I just turn my punch upside down and punch out the sentiment by stamping first and turning the punch upside down. You can line up that appropriately. And for the 1 inch strip, what I've done here is I just line this up, and I'm going to get a different shape using this everyday label punch. Line this up, and I get a slightly different shape for that. So it just seems works great for the sentiments that aren't as tall, and so that works out perfect. So in the layout on the back, I enlarged this a little bit. It shows you suggested layouts. So it's showing that one of the 4 by 6 Designer Series paper, cut off, since it's 6 inches, I cut it off to be 5 1/4, and then cut it in half. And that's the perfect layout for these type of cards. And you can see that the 2 different everyday label sentiments are stamped there. And if you cut it in half this way, it's appropriate for this style card. You can put it on the side, you can put it on the bottom, you can put it right in the middle, all kinds of options. Like I mentioned, a simple card. You can step this up, and I have 12 cards that are stepped up just by adding a couple more pieces of product into the picture. I have the subtle folder. I ran all 12 pieces of cardstock. I folded them, put it before I assembled, placed it in the folder, ran it through my Big Shot. I also cut 3 of the pieces to get 12 insides. I did the same thing for the sentiments. What I did in addition to this was I added some silver foil. It's just some strips that I layered here, and then behind every sentiment, and then I also added some ribbon. Behind every sentiment, I have a silver layering here. How I did that was I used the new scalped tag punch and a piece of silver foil. Now this is going to be a different width, and let me give you those dimensions. I have those printed here. For the 1 inch strip, the foil will be 1 3/8 by 2 7/8. So what I do is, because it's got to be centered here, it's very hard to see what's going on. I actually turn it upside down. By turning it upside down, I can make sure it's all the way to the end of the stamp, the punch, and then I can look to see that it's equal on both sides, and then I'm gonna punch that. I'm gonna rotate this, do the same thing, just get it in there to start, and then the back of the punch will be my guide. It has to go all the way to the end of the punch, and then I'm looking at the ends here, and by doing that, then let's see if I can find those punches that I did earlier. By doing that, this will cover up the holes and be a really great layer for my everyday label punch. For the regular label punch, or the not trimmed down, what I've done here, I don't know if you heard my doorbell ring, but we'll let that go. I think it's a delivery. This one is 1 3/4 by 2 7/8. I'm going to place this in, and I need to talk a little bit more about this punch. It's a new punch in the catalog. So again, push it all the way to the end, layer it or center it there, punch, do the same thing for the other side. Place this all the way in, center it, and punch that. And this will be perfect, covers up the 2 holes on the side, and that's perfect for layering for your other cards. As I mentioned, it's the same, and maybe I didn't mention, it's the same layouts, but I just added the silver foil, the ribbon, and it works out great. The one thing I wanted to mention was this punch. This punch is new. It's very much like the triple banner punch, where you can put a 1 inch, 1 1/2, or 2 inch piece of cardstock. And as I just showed you, widths in between that, but you have to be a little bit more careful for punching. But with this, I think it's gonna, you get 3 different styles depending if it's a 1 inch, 2 inch, or 1 1/2. So it's gonna be a fun new tool to use. As I mentioned, my Create with Terri card kit packets are going to be a thank you for a $50 order, and you are guaranteed to get the July kit with an order. If your $50 order, if your order is $200, $100, you will get 2. One of this packet, and then your second packet may be of retired cardstock, or it may be of a second of the same. So this will be a fun thank you gift for you. If you use my July host code, you will receive some of the Noble Peacock rhinestones. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you found me via YouTube, look in the comments section for a direct link to my blog post, where you'll find more details and a photo of all of these cards. There'll be a PDF to download for the first set of cards, and for future videos, I will be showing you some fun folds that you can use the card kit packets to create with. Thanks for stopping by. Hope you enjoyed creating with me.